Hi there, I'm hiking here in beautiful Jasper National Park, Canada. An awesome sunny August day. As you can see, I'm not too deep into the wilderness. There's a power line there, and there's a road just down the hill there. I'm on a path hiking into the town of Jasper itself, which is in the center of Jasper National Park. I'm walking from where I live and work at the moment, which is about 3 miles, 5 kilometers from the town. So I'm headed into town to run some errands. So this video is titled, "The World is More Beautiful Than You Realize." And it is easy as humans to be deceived into the concept that the world is as it appears to us. Because here we are, human being with our 5 senses, in my case, hiking along in the woods, feeling my feet on the ground, seeing the trees all lit up by the sun, and hearing, insects and some cars off in the distance, and smelling the smell of the plants and the trees, and so it seemed quite obvious that, well, this is what the world is about. Here I am sensing it in all these different ways, and so that must be reality. But this could not be further from the truth. The world is not at all as we see it. We are as if looking at the world through a tiny pinhole tunnel and just seeing this little enclosed little dot of the world in totality. And there's this whole other realm that is invisible to us. And it is because our human senses don't transmit everything that is going on around us, or we would be absolutely and utterly overwhelmed and not be able to make sense of any of it. Our human senses are limited in what they can perceive, and so we are simply seeing a fraction of reality, of that which is in existence, and which science can prove. So the visible light spectrum, or light that is visible to us as humans, is like the narrowest little sliver in the spectrum of various frequencies of vibration of the various spectrum of different waves that do exist in the universe. And so you have radio waves and radar waves and ultraviolet and infrared and all kinds of different frequencies of energy that are all over the place. And so here I am walking through the woods here, seeing green and brown and the blue sky, and meanwhile I am as best as I can understand it, walking through this reality that is just completely different from what I see, that is just like all energy and the energy fields of the trees, the energy fields of myself and other people that can be seen, for example, in Kirlian photography. And so we know that all physical matter also has a energetic component to it that our eyes don't see. And so that is just sight. Now here's another one to consider, which is that bears apparently have a sense of smell that is something like 3,000 times stronger than humans. A bear's sense of smell is much, much stronger than that of a bloodhound, like by 200 or 300 times. So a bear is sensing a world through smell that is beyond our comprehension. I mean, I can barely smell anything right now. Like, it smells vaguely dusty, and that's it. And meanwhile, a bear can apparently smell a human being from something like 18 miles away. Imagine that, being able to smell specific smells in a radius, 10 to 20 miles in every direction. And so there's this whole world of smells that I am immersed in at this very moment, which I'm completely and utterly oblivious to. And I'm sure that's the case with sound as well, and taste and touch, that there is much more going on here than we can even conceive of. And I suspect this is what Plato was alluding to in his allegory of the cave. And I'll just give a very quick explanation of the allegory of the cave. So the allegory of the cave, I'm just going to hike up here and get a little view. The allegory of the cave is a vision that he had, in which he imagined that there's the town of Jasper you can kind of see down there. It's a little bit noisy, actually. So Plato imagined that there were, as an allegory, imagine several people who are raised in a cave. They've lived their entire lives in this cave, and they are tied to posts with their arms behind them, rope tied around their posts, tied around their arms, tied to these posts, and they are staring at a wall, the cave wall in front of them, and behind them is a fire that is flickering away. It's crackling away and is sending, projecting light onto the cave wall. And so what they perceive, and all that they have perceived their entire life, is the flickering shadows in front of them of the light projecting onto the cave wall. And they've never seen the campfire behind them. They can hear it, I guess, but they have no idea what the source of this light is. And they don't even really think about it. It's just, this is reality. It's just these little flickering shadows, and that's all that they know. And so imagine that one of these people somehow manages to free themselves and is able to turn around and see the campfire behind them inside this cave. And then beyond that, imagine if they found the tunnel out of that cave and came out to see the outside world as we know it, and how absolutely and utterly mind-blowing that would be. All these new senses, they probably just wouldn't even be able to make sense of it. They'd just be stumbling around, walking into things and not able to differentiate trees from people, from animals, etc. It would just be this absolutely overwhelming barrage of senses. And perhaps this is what Plato was getting at, was the idea that the world as we see it is actually akin to just seeing those flickering shadows on a cave wall, and that beyond that which we can sense, that which we have been immersed within our whole lives, and which we assume to be reality in totality, beyond that, there's actually a much more magnificent, beautiful world than we realize. Here I am, immersed in this beautiful forest here, and yet imagine if you could see the energy fields of all of these trees, of the bugs, of the flowers, of the grass. It would just be like this, something like from a movie set, like that movie What Dreams May Come, where everything's kind of painted in like old style paintings, just extremely colorful and vibrant. Like that would be, that's doesn't even get at it, I'm sure, but just kind of gives a general idea of what this world really must be like beyond our capacity to perceive it. And there are those who do have, or at least claim to have, abilities of perception beyond the norm for humans, such as Teal Swan, for example, who says that she actually sees the world and people as their energetic fields. And to her, this would be normal if this is just the way that it's been for her whole life. And yet, certainly there is even much beyond what she is seeing that actually exists in reality. So just something to keep in mind as you're going about your day, that the world is much grander than we perceive. And it is my understanding that we actually do have the ability to broaden our senses, that even perhaps babies do have these greater abilities, but in the course of aligning with the physical world, then you start to filter out that which isn't relevant to you, because you have to focus on specific things and block out other things that aren't relevant to you in terms of just your daily life. And so we may very well have those abilities latent within us, and through various practices be able to tap into them and broaden our perceptions of reality if we so choose. So pretty interesting stuff. All right, take it easy. And here's a nice view of the town of Jasper, Alberta, Canada, in the Canadian Rockies.